the person we are talking about today is quite unhinged. That's literally the only explanation I could say for this. Disclaimer, don't send hate to any of the parties involved, okay? That is not what we're doing. That only makes you, stoop as low as this person. But I have never seen such unhinged behavior from somebody before. I swear to God. I posted this video the other day. This was 3 days ago, as of today, right? February 19th. And the title reads, Sims creator slandered for years over ... not blocking somebody. Ah, yes, I was blonde. Clearly I'm not blonde now. But I'll give you a TLDR of this video if you haven't seen it before. If you have seen this video before, my editor will put a timestamp to where you don't need the TLDR. So TLDR, this is drama between a large Sims creator by the name of Danielle Builds and a much smaller Sims creator by the name of Laura BBX. Basically, what transpired was Laura and Danielle were mutuals. Laura DM'd Danielle asking for a collab. Danielle was nice and said yes to the collab. Laura then kept spamming Danielle in the Instagram DMs, DMing her story to Danielle like every single day. Danielle then confronted her, being like, hey, appreciate your enthusiasm. You're spamming my DMs. Can you not do that, please? Laura said, sure. Then Laura was trying to, I guess, ask for a collab again. Danielle wasn't interested because they already worked together, and Danielle frankly felt like she did not vibe well with Laura. Then got herself embroiled in some sort of drama or controversy. I do not know what this drama or controversy is, but it involved another creator. Laura felt like that other creator was bullying her. I say this allegedly because I do not know what happens. I do not know the situation that transpired, so I do not know. I cannot report about whether I personally think it was bullying or not, right? Laura felt like the other creator was bullying her. Laura then DMs Danielle, again on Instagram, being like, hey, Danielle, can you block this creator for me? Danielle said, hey, please don't drag me into drama. I do not know you like this. I do not know this other creator like this. I do not want to be dragged into drama. Danielle was drawing her boundaries. Laura then said something akin to something, you're an asshole for not blocking this creator who's bullying me. That makes you a bully. Laura then proceeded to slander Danielle's name in like Facebook groups, on Instagram posts, whatever, being like, Danielle Builds is a bully. Danielle Builds encourages bullying. Danielle Builds is toxic. This all was because Danielle did not block this one creator that Laura asked to be blocked. Basically, a year passes or something, right? Laura keeps trying to slander Danielle's name, calling Danielle a bully or whatever, saying that Danielle is toxic. Danielle then tries to threaten legal action, being like, hey, if you don't stop, this is slander, this is libel, I will threaten legal action. Turns out, because Laura lives in the UK, there was nothing Danielle could do. And then Laura was like, hey, you are a bully for threatening to sue me. And Danielle was like, Danielle decided to be the bigger person and was like, okay, I will step up. I will apologize. I am so sorry for hurting your feelings. I'm sorry for my actions that have caused you to feel this way. Let's apologize. Let's move on. Laura then apologized too, saying that she was sorry. And Danielle was like, okay, thank you for apologizing. You know, we can move past this. Laura did not move past it. And Laura would continue to, in the comment section of posts about Danielle, comments about Danielle, constantly saying that Danielle is a bully, constantly saying that Danielle is toxic. After they apologized, by the way. This now will continue for like another year. By the way, again, I will say, obviously, I'm going to be biased because I know Danielle in person. Danielle is the nicest person I've ever fucking met in my entire life. I was in Atlanta by myself. She drove me around. We got food together. We got boba together. We went to a museum together, and then we went to an awards show, like an awards event together that we were both invited to. She is extremely kind, and the way that she appears on camera is exactly how she is in person. You know how some creators are like very two-faced? She's exactly the same. Equally as kind, as patient, as caring in person and online. That's just my little character vouch for her. But all of this transpires, and then Danielle made a video basically talking about this whole scenario, being like, hey, my name has been slandered for over 2 years by this creator. Here is what happens. Literally explaining everything that has happened. And then Laura absolutely flipped shit. So under this video, right, Laura is like, keep on deleting my comments, LMAO. Facts on my channel, not this fiction harassment. Which I think she left like 3 or 4 comments. I will have to say, I have been out of town for the last 4 days, so this video was scheduled. I have not seen any of her comments. I did not know she commented until today, and I have not deleted any of her comments. So I don't know where she's thinking I'm deleting her comments. Like maybe she's not scrolling far down enough in the comments to see her comment get buried or something, but I haven't deleted anything. She states that the truth is posted on her page, okay, on her YouTube page, that she then took and copy pasted into multiple Sims Facebook groups, okay? Why is MS Paint here, you ask? It is because Laura doxed Danielle's full name. That is why I have this MS Paint thing open, okay? Because I'm showing this on Twitch, so I am not trying to dox Danielle. This is the truth that Laura puts. We're gonna read it, okay? Because we are going to be investigative journalists and look at both sides of the story, including Laura's side. And so Laura writes, cyberbully in the community. Danielle redacted, or Danielle builds. It's Danielle's full name. And this is a massive copy pasta. Laura writes, because again, this is Laura's truth, so let's read it, right? Laura writes, this will eventually get back to her, and so be it. That is not what this is here for. This individual has made a video about myself claiming she's been a victim of bullying by myself for 2 years. I'm not about to make a 15-minute long edited video to myself, embarrassing myself like she did just for views. But I won't stand down and let somebody harass me and try and get a clan of people in her community to come and harass me based on her pity video. Let's make one thing clear. I do not tolerate bullying. By the way, I just want us to define the word bullying for a second. Don't worry, I will read it to you guys. So the definition of bullying is to seek to harm, intimidate, or coerce somebody perceived as vulnerable. So I will state in this scenario, right, there is a big power dynamic at play. The big power dynamic is Danielle being a much bigger creator, astronomically larger than Laura, like astronomically. Here's the thing though, when it's a situation between a bigger creator and a smaller creator, in my personal opinion, it is very rarely okay for a bigger creator to like call out a smaller creator, because when a bigger creator calls out a smaller creator, the bigger creator has a lot more followers. They have a lot more audience. They have a lot more power in the scenario than the smaller creator. A lot of times bigger creators can call out smaller creators and leverage their massive audience size to try to bully, harass, and push a smaller creator off the platform. It can impact the smaller creator's living, it can impact their income, it can be very harmful to the smaller creator. On the flip side of the coin though, when it comes to a situation where a smaller creator is actively going after a bigger creator by allegedly slandering their name across the internet, right? What leads to a scenario is the scenario of the bigger creator's hands being tied. In a scenario where, in our hypothetical scenario, I'm not saying this, in a hypothetical scenario where a smaller creator is actively slandering and spreading misinformation about a bigger creator, the bigger creator's hands are tied. There is almost nothing the bigger creator can do in this scenario to defend themselves. If the bigger creator were to make a post defending themselves, people will call them a bully. But the other option is they keep their mouth shut and then they continue enduring bullying and harassment and slander upon their name. And the thing is, it gets to a very tricky scenario because people often tend to forget that bigger creators at the end of the day are still human beings. That creators, no matter how much of a following you have, still have feelings. They still can get hurt. They still can experience the same happiness and sadness you can experience. It doesn't make them less emotional, less affected by hate and slander and things said about their name, alleged slander, just because they have more followers. More followers does not make you immune to harassment, and that is the point that I want to make here. So in a scenario, in a hypothetical scenario where a smaller creator keeps going after and bullying a bigger creator, like actively trying to smear their name or slander the name in any way, there is basically nothing the bigger creator can do. Every move they have to make will make them look like an asshole. Either they call it the smaller creator, they look like a dick, or they don't do anything and the smaller creator will continue slandering their name. So in a hypothetical scenario where this happens, right, what exactly can the bigger creator do? It gets very tricky, right? But again, of course, in a scenario where a bigger creator is maliciously going after a smaller creator, that is very harmful and very detrimental. So I'm just curious in your opinion on a scenario like this, whether you think in this case, Danielle as the bigger creator was right in making a call out video 2 years after Laura has constantly been talking about them and saying they're a bully, or maybe if Danielle should have never made a video trying to clear her side of the story, I guess. Because at the end of the day, everyone, I suppose, is allowed to air out both sides of the story, their side. But that was a little bit of a ramble. Let's get back into what Laura wrote. So Laura writes, let's get to the facts rather than pity facts, shall we? Back in August 2022, I just started YouTube. I was brand new and I followed a lot of builders over on Instagram, herself being one of them. Later that year in December 2022, my granddad passed away and it wasn't a nice calm goodbye. It was what nightmares are made of. During this period of time, I was also dealing with bullying online. Toxic Twitter, TikToxic, and Facebook were the primary locations of hatred. Shockingly, mostly from middle-aged women. I reached out to a few of the creators I, at the time, enjoyed their content and asked if they'd like to do one massive build collab together. Lots of people joined, and it was supposed to be a positive thing. This wasn't for views or popularity. I've never been the one to do things for views, unlike others. It was simply a fun collab with like-minded people, or so I thought. Prior to this collab, I had asked Danielle myself whether she'd like to do a collab together. She agreed, and we created a build together, herself on the exterior and myself on the interior. All was fine. Fast forward a couple of weeks, I can't remember the exact time frame, being a year ago, I was called a cancerous see you next Tuesday and a cancerous tumor you can't cut off by an individual. Why, you may ask? Because I charge my time to create custom design builds, which at the time Danielle did too. She claims she did this for 5 minutes and took down the post, but that is a lie. I reached out to the fellow simmers in the collab to find support, assuming these people who I thought I was friends with would support me and have my back. They did not. They wanted nothing to do with it. Now, this part keeps getting tossed around by the community, and I'm tired of hearing it. I asked for my fellow builders in my collab to report this person for cyberbullying. That was all. And I'd hope they would unfollow them, presuming they were my friends, knowing such awful things have been said about me. But to be honest, even as a stranger, I'd want to unfollow somebody who spoke to a followed person so badly. They didn't report them, and they didn't unfollow them, and they continued to collectively tell me they wouldn't do anything because it didn't affect them. All right, sorry, I'm gonna censor this because I did not realize they just kept repeating Danielle's full name. Just as Danielle Redacted said in her harassment video, which somebody tried to impose I was the bully, admitted she did nothing. She wanted nothing to do with this and didn't report them and continued to tell people they were a good person. So let me just summarize Laura's side of the story, right? According to Laura, somebody called them a cancerous see you next Tuesday and a cancerous tumor. I am sorry somebody said that to you. That is a horrible thing to say about anybody. That is horrible. You crashed out because Danielle did not block somebody you told her to block. Look, at the end of the day, you cannot control the free will of other people. I have had people do some vile shit to me. I have not told anybody to block anybody. No matter what people have done to me, no matter what people have said to me, I have not told, not even my close friends, not even my boyfriend, not even my mom or dad, I have not told them to block anybody. A very popular content creator online that you collab with once, you DM them to block somebody that you allegedly are being bullied by, right? That's what Laura thinks. You are completely fair in your feelings. It is hurtful what they said. Demanding that people act in a specific way according to your morals, in my opinion, is not okay. I have my own personal morals at the end of the day, right? There are people that I like, there are people that I do not like, and I have my reasons for liking you and disliking you. Regardless of my personal reasons, I am not going to go out of my way to demand other people block people that I do not like, you know? I've had people DM me death threats, telling me that they're gonna find me, R-word me, kill me. I have never told my friends to block those people. I'm not gonna tell other people what to do. I am not God who died and made you Pope at the end of the day, right? People are entitled to their own thing. We could argue that maybe you do have some grounds to ask people politely who are very close to you to block somebody that has hurt you. I could argue that that could be fair. You and Danielle are not close by any means. If you think that you guys are close, this is some like parasocial behavior you're thinking. You guys are not friends, point blank simple. But that is my 2 cents. I would love to hear your opinions at the end of the day. Do you think that if somebody has called you names on the internet, people that you have collabed with once should block them? Just curious. So Laura in her post continues, in this video she made, she says, I bullied people due to the loss of my grandfather. This is where it stops. No matter what shit you're going through, Danielle, and I know a lot of people bully you for your visual representation, and that's not okay by any means, does not mean you target the loss of my grandfather and try to twist the truth so sinisterly. I do not bully. I am forever explaining to your minions, if you don't report bullying, you are just as bad as them. Exactly why I will forever tell people such truth about you. Did you report the bullying? No. Did you block them? No. That part, while wrong, is your own prerogative and simply shows me how low of a person you must be. Did you report the horrific bullying in the community which you are a part of? Therefore, that is wrong. And you and whomever else who doesn't report bullying are equally as bad. Telling people you don't want to be involved isn't good enough. It's not even personal. I'd tell you the same thing if it was a random person who reached out and you did nothing. Anyone who does nothing about bullying when they're informed of it is just as bad as the bully. So, by the way, I want to break this down, okay? From my understanding of what happened, again, I'm a third party. I will say this plain and clearly. I am going to be obviously biased towards Danielle because I know Danielle in person. I do not know Laura. So obviously I do have some reader bias. But what Danielle had said in the DMs where we have seen the screenshots, basically here, when they apologize, right? When they apologize, Laura was like, sorry, I've been going through a horrific year with loss and it's been really shit. I don't want to make your life any worse. And Danielle in this video says it is not okay to excuse your poor behavior on the death of a family member because that does not excuse you being a dick. I'm sure we've seen this on my YouTube channel time and time again, where people who have scammed people, I'm not saying Laura is a scammer, but this is scammers, right? Or people who have just been assholes to other people, they will pull any excuse out of the book. My grandfather died, my cat died, I need to take my fish on a walk and my fish got eaten by a dog that was like across the street. I don't know, right? Anything under the sun. They will use anything as some sort of excuse to excuse their behavior or their actions. Look, We can all acknowledge, right, that it sucks your grandfather passed. I'm very sorry that you've experienced the loss of a family member that was very close to you. That is obviously very hurtful. You're going to be going through a very rough time in your life. That doesn't excuse you being an asshole. There are so many of us that have had unfortunate things happen to them. I'm sorry, you're not the only person whose grandfather has passed away. You're not the only person who has experienced loss of a family member, other unfortunate situations that's happened. You're not the only one. There are plenty of people who have experienced a family member passing away that have not then turned around and been an asshole to other people in their lives. And I feel like I should not have to explain this to you. So Laura claims that Danielle is targeting the loss of her grandfather to twist the truth. Again, there's always two sides to every story and the truth. There is Danielle's side, there's going to be Laura's side, and there's going to be the truth. What I am seeing, again, as a biased third party, right? I will straight up admit it, I am biased. But what I am seeing is that you are experiencing a loss, yes, but you are using this loss as an excuse for how you've treated other people, Danielle. Exactly, Dev. Rather than using a hardship as a hall pass for poor behavior, people need to apologize and acknowledge that what they did was wrong and that isn't excusable. Yeah, I think what would have been satisfactory is you, maybe if you do want to disclose this unfortunate tragedy you experienced, hey, I have experienced the loss of my grandfather passing away in my life, something, it's made my life difficult, whatever, right? I truly apologize for how I've treated you, regardless of what happened in my life. It was not okay for me to talk to you or demand such behavior from you. And for that, I am very sorry and I hope you can forgive me. I think that would have been satisfactory. Again, this is the same thing with people who also excuse, I'm not saying Laura did this, but I have heard this many, many times in the past. People who have past traumas use that as their excuse to their behavior in the future. People who have suffered childhood trauma, unfortunate, tragic things that should have never happened to any individual, they unfortunately experienced. I'm very sorry you experienced that. It absolutely sucks. That is not an excuse for you to treat other people in your life years down the line, decades down the line, like absolute shit because of what you experienced. It is completely unfair that you experienced it. It is completely unfair you had to go through what you went through. But your trauma is not other people's problem. Your trauma is your problem to deal with. That is my personal opinion. I have gone through things. I am not making my problems other people's problems. I will deal with it. That is my own thing. That is my own thing to deal with. It is not your problem. That's the biggest thing. Accountability. Like accountability, just acknowledge you were wrong. Acknowledge that, hey, what you said was too much. Also, I would again say Laura has like a very strong emphasis of I do not bully. Like that is the ground they stand on. They constantly stand on the fact that they are not a bully, that they are just exposing the truth, which I would still argue the wording is incorrect. You're exposing your truth, not the truth. The truth is a very objective thing that neither you or Danielle can necessarily agree on. But I really do want to revisit this definition of bully: to seek or to harm, intimidate or coerce somebody perceived as vulnerable. You have doxed somebody's name. You have released the full name of this content creator. Is that not seeking to intimidate? Is doxing somebody not seeking harm? I'm sure you as a content creator, by the way, I am like ashamed to admit that I am the same age as this person. We are both 24 years old. I don't know how you got to 24 like this, but I'm sure you have full understanding of why you released their full name, because you released Danielle's full name that is not public information. What did you seek to gain by releasing this information, right? I am sure it was done to harm Danielle. And you cannot argue with me that it was done for any other reason. Because Danielle is large and popular. If you were just to put Danielle Builds, everybody knows who Danielle Builds is. Every sim creator knows. You do not need to put her full name for people to understand who you're talking about. And by the way, she puts Danielle's face in full blast with a bunch of screenshots later at the end too. So like nobody without a doubt is questioning who you're talking about. So genuinely, I am just curious, why are you dropping the full name? There is no excuse you can give that would explain that away. But here we go with another point. Therefore, that is wrong, and you and whomever else do not report bullying are equally as bad. I'm gonna make a counter argument that bullying does not always need to be reported. Hear me out before I sound like an asshole. I do completely agree with the bystander effect. If you see that other people have gone through a bad experience, they are being affected by other people, I do think you should use your own voice and your ability in America under the First Amendment, right? They are from the UK, so maybe things are different there, to try to stand up for somebody that's being victimized. I would make the counterclaim that you can be a victim of bullying from somebody else and then turn around and be the bully to another person. And that is largely how it happens anyways. Bullies are formed because they were bullied by somebody else. I'm not trying to say that you did not get bullied by this other creator that I do not know, right? For whatever scenario that happened before. I think we can all look at this objectively and admit that you have turned around and then become a bully by demanding that Danielle report this other person, and other people for that matter, because Danielle was not the only person they demanded this of. But I would still argue, bullying does not always need to be reported. If you see it happen, I would hope you stand up. But If you take a situation that happened and go into the DMs of everybody that you know, demanding they block that person, I would say that you're probably crossing some boundaries there. I use the word demands because it was not kindly asked. So this is what Laura said. Sent the post. Can you please report her in the post because she has shared my private messages and she called me a bully, crying. What is wrong with people? I want to make sure we emphasize this, okay? Let's not gloss over this because why did Laura write, no matter what shit you're going through, Danielle, and I know a lot of people bully you for your visual representation. May I ask you to elaborate on this? Genuinely, what do you mean? What are you talking about here? Why are you bringing the way Danielle looks into this conversation? It has nothing to do with this. Again, I would argue that this is an underhanded attempt at further hurting somebody that you have gotten involved with this scenario. This is a situation between you and Danielle involving multiple points that you have outlined. You have outlined that this is about Danielle not blocking somebody that allegedly bullied you and allegedly Danielle making fun of your grandfather's death, which in my opinion did not happen. This is not about Danielle's looks. This is not about your looks. So why is this brought into the conversation? With what intention was Danielle's full name brought into this conversation for? And with what intention were you bringing Danielle's looks into this conversation? I just genuinely have to ask because it's nothing good. There's no way this is something good. But it gets worse because let's look at this, okay? Laura continues, I find it very disturbing how you claim in this video you're being bullied, when in reality, you're showcasing my disbelief that somebody who I thought was an anti-bullying advocate turned their nose because it didn't concern me. That's not good enough. It really isn't. Take me out of the picture and replace me with somebody else, same difference. It is not good enough. Okay, again, I want to break this down for you guys. Let's analyze this. Anti-bullying advocate is a very interesting terminology to use here. I can't recall a single time Danielle has called herself that, but maybe this is what you've labeled her as. Again, I'm going to play devil's advocate here, right? I would say it's totally fine for people to not want to be involved in drama if it doesn't concern them. That's my hot take. If it doesn't involve them, why are you trying to involve them? I'm just curious. Take me out of the picture and replace me with somebody else, same difference. It is not good enough. I don't know what this means either. Maybe it's Laura's thinking Danielle is purposely being mean because it's her. But I would argue if we take you out of the picture, it never would have escalated to this point in the first place because nobody would have escalated it to this point except you. That's just my opinion though. Laura continues, all of the comments on your pity video insulting me and you hearting the comments about going sad emoji, sad emoji. Really? Really? That is bullying. It is almost like you have goggles on the you only see when things affect yourself. It is embarrassing to look at. And better yet, whose comment did you like? The person who called me those names to begin with. Do better. Grow up. Realize you messed up and stop posting petty videos for views just because your channel is going less and less. It's pathetic. You don't see me posting videos for views. Why is that? Because everything I do, I earn my community members through hard work and dedication, not insulting people and lying for intention. Again, let's just break this down real quick, right? I would argue, again, why are you so concerned with what comments people are liking? Why? It's not your problem. Maybe you think it is. If you think that the comments that Danielle likes is your problem, then you're a hypocrite because this statement, it's almost like you have goggles on and you only see when things affect yourself. That would be you, right? This is what a narcissist is, right? You only care about things that affect yourself. So why do you care whose comments Danielle is liking? Danielle is not you. Danielle is somebody else, her own individual person who can like whatever comments she wants to like. Why do you think it concerns you? Unless you're a narcissist. You're either a hypocrite or you're full of shit. It's like one or the other. Look, man, do you think Danielle knows and is intimately familiar with everybody you have beef with? Probably not. Laura continues. Yes, I publicly told others you were a bully, which you are. How about all those other comments slapped over your page insulting your body? Those are hate comments. Those comments are not okay by any means. Did I assault you or lie? No. I told the whole truth and only the truth. I genuinely am sorry people talk so horrifically about your weight, etc. That is completely unacceptable by any means. And even after all the shit you said about me, I am still feeling bad about you. Nobody should have to hear those things. It's pretty clear by your content on Facebook in particular how much the cyberbullying from others has affected you, and I don't blame you. It would me too. However, the way you've kicked off at me for simply telling people you are a bully is absurd when it's true. Guys, Let us break this down again. Why is Danielle's weight being brought into this conversation when it is extremely irrelevant? Neither of your appearance is relevant in this conversation for that matter. Both of you guys. Basically, for an explanation, Danielle on her Facebook page in January made a post talking about all this harassment she's received over her weight. Why are you bringing up her weight? Is it because you know that Danielle has been bullied about her weight? So you are purposely talking about it to try to get a low blow, a kick to her knees, to try to get her more down? Because again, this conversation is about 2 points. Point number 1, Danielle not blocking somebody that you wanted her to block. Point number 2, Danielle allegedly insulting your grandfather's death. I do not think it was an insult. Danielle said that you should not scapegoat your shitty behavior onto a grandfather's death. That is not bullying. That is the truth. Your unfortunate grandfather's passing is not an excuse for you to be an asshole. Those are the 2 points in contention here, not Danielle's weight. Not Danielle's appearance, not your appearance either. Let us take a look at Danielle's full face slapped on the bottom here. Full picture of her face. If by posting her username and her full name wasn't enough, she had to insert a big picture of her face too. The things you said about me in that video and how degrading you were about me being a new creator. In what universe is that encouraging for up-and-coming creators who watch your content and look up to you? It's not okay. Please learn. That is not okay. You don't get anywhere by dragging others down. As Casey Musgrave's song goes, pissing in my yard ain't gonna make yours any greener. Sorry, I just didn't know what that word was. Raining on somebody else's parade only makes you look bad. For context, this is because Danielle said that Laura reached out to her for a collab. Danielle stated that Laura was a smaller creator, but Danielle likes to, give chances to smaller creators, so she gave her a collab. Girl, I'm just gonna be blunt. How fucking ungrateful are you? Here is this bigger creator that you have kind of idolized back in 2022, astronomically bigger than you. She eclipses you size-wise in terms of her following versus yours. Do you know how kind a creator like Danielle has to be to give you a collab? I am not as big as Danielle, but I rarely collab with smaller creators. Not because I don't like smaller creators, because so many of them ask me for collabs, okay? It's like picking seeds out of a strawberry, okay? There's a lot, right? So I do work with smaller creators, right? I love working with smaller creators. I can't work with all of you guys. And it is a very, very factual statement that Danielle's following is a lot bigger than yours. That is a factual statement. She did not say it with any malicious intent. It was to give context, because the context makes sense. Consider yourself lucky you got a collab with a creator as big as her, right? It rarely happens. And you're flipping shit because of it. But Laura continues, I never bullied you. I expected better of you and the community, and me losing my granddad has absolutely nothing to do with my reaction to how useless this community were as supporting somebody who reached out because they were bullied. Wait, okay, let's backtrack a little bit. So you stated that you losing your granddad has nothing to do with your reaction. So you losing your granddad, in your own words, has nothing to do with how poorly you have treated Danielle. But in this DM, in this screenshot that Danielle has provided, which may I add, Laura has not provided screenshots, right? You verbatim in the DMs to Danielle wrote, I appreciate it a lot, and I'm sorry for anything I've said too. I'm not a nasty person. I've had a really horrific year with loss, and it's been really shit. I don't want to make your life any worse in any way. I'm not that type of person. But going through hell in real life and then to be named so many things online, So in this DM, I hope you can understand English, because what I am reading is, I guess, not what you think you said. If we both speak the same language, right? We both read the same words. The way I interpret what you said is here, you are literally using your grandfather's death as an excuse for your behavior, right? You said, I'm not a nasty person. I've had a horrific year. When you put those 2 words in the same sentence, you are implying that because of your grandfather's death, you became a nasty person. You're not gonna gaslight me, because I read what I read, and here in your words that you posted yesterday, you wrote that you losing your granddad had nothing to do with your reaction. So which is it? Did you losing your grandfather have nothing to do with your reaction? Or did it actually have something to do with your reaction? But Laura continues, how dare you use that as an excuse for your useless behavior? My loss and dealing with bullies like you is the reason I told you about the loss, hoping you'd understand how messed up you and fellow simmers were towards me while going through grief and having zero support. Which is it? Again, in the next breath, you once again scapegoat your grandfather's death for you being an asshole. Taking that out of context is not okay. Seriously, that's disgusting. I will not tolerate bullying, and I will not be posting petty lies in videos like yourself for views. Maybe make better content and get genuine supporters next time. It's better for your mental health. Seems like I'm not the only one dealing with her actions either. Even racism from her too. Yikes. When we have the photos, because they attach this big picture of Danielle's face, I guess, for some reason, then I guess this is the person they're beefing with, Laura, the one that called them a cancerous see you next Tuesday, right? This creator, which that's very mean. You shouldn't call people that. That's mean. I kind of have a feeling that you're not 100% of the victim, given how many people have trouble with you. And then this is Danielle liking the comment. And look, I'm just gonna say, bro, I'm just gonna say, I do not expect Danielle to remember the name of the person you asked her to block. Again, do I think Danielle should have blocked the person you asked them to block? Danielle doesn't know you like that. No. But point number two, I think there's a very high likelihood Danielle didn't even know this person was the person you were beefing with. That's a complete separate point, but highly likely she probably didn't even remember. A creator of her size gets a lot of DMs, a lot. I get a lot of people telling me this person, that person, whatever, this person did something shit, this person did something shit, especially because I am a creator who does cover scams, right? I get people DMing me about scammers all the fucking time. I'm sorry. Sometimes I see it, sometimes I just don't remember because there's a lot of names, bro. You just lose it in your head. So here is Danielle liking comments of people on her side. I would again make an argument. You are a nice narcissist if you are this extremely concerned about the comments that somebody is liking. Because this is your defense, right? That Danielle is liking comments. Genuinely, this is the smallest non-issue I have ever seen. And if you care so much about the comments people are leaving, I would genuinely implore you to go seek some help for maybe being a narcissist, because that is way too much concern over other people. Dev, and like you said, no person can or should ask another person to fight their fight or take a side in something that has nothing to do with them. Fight your own fight, or better yet, realize that somebody else's opinion of you or your work is none of your damn business and not worth your damn time. I completely agree. I have been on the receiving end of what, in my opinion, I would feel like is a harassment against myself, right? Slanderous things were said about me, in my personal opinion. Other people may disagree. Other people would say it's rightfully so. You can have your own opinion. I will have my own opinion. My friends will have their own opinions. That is it. I have never asked people to go and block other people that I've been involved with. I have never asked people to go and block, ban, because that is not my prerogative. It is not my grounds to tell you what to do or what not to do, right? If I see people that are my friends interacting and supporting that person, I just make a mental note being like, oh, that's a little weird. Maybe they didn't know, right? But if they knew and they're kind of like interacting, it's a little sus, you know? I make a mental note, but I don't actively go up in their DMs and crash out asking them to go and like demand that they do this thing or block this person just because I have a problem with them. Because I am also a mature adult at 24 years old, I can also acknowledge that I can have problems with one person, and somebody that I can be friends with can have a good relationship with that person. This is something called nuance. And this is something that when your prefrontal cortex develops, you may understand. I have friends in my life that I am friends with and other people that I am not friends with. And my friend is friends with them. Depending on how the scenario played out, right? Sometimes my issue with that person has nothing to do with my friend. Literally nothing. And as a result, I am not faulting them whatsoever for their friendship with that person because it had nothing to do with me. My issue was between me and that person. That friend was not involved at all. And this is called maturity, guys. Okay, not all things are black and white. Not all things are one-sided. You can have an issue with somebody and your friend can have a good relationship with them because it just did not involve that. And the thing I want to say again is like, Danielle's the bigger creator in this scenario and her hands are so tied. What do you expect a bigger creator to do like Danielle in this scenario? Here you have the smaller creator who posted her truth, which you can use your own opinions on your interpretation of the truth, right? What can she do? Call her a bully all over the internet for 2 years. She kept her mouth shut. She kept her mouth shut for 2 years because Danielle knows that if she were to make a video calling you out, she would look like a bully for bullying a smaller creator, allegedly. But if she keeps her mouth shut and doesn't say anything, then you just continue running your mouth and slandering her for the end of eternity. It is literally a lose-lose for the bigger creator in this scenario. I know. I've been there. Genuinely, what can you do? Right? So finally, Danielle made a video to clear her name. By the way, Danielle never mentioned Laura's name. That is one point that I think I failed to mention, but Danielle had censored Laura out of everything. Danielle's name was censored out of everything. All the screenshots, everything in her video. But yeah, for clarity, Danielle never asked me to make a video. That was my prerogative. Danielle never asked me to talk about this again on stream. That is also my choice. Danielle never told me her name. I went and snooped like the chismoso I am and found her name and I put it in the video. Because normally when I make videos, I do redact the person's name if the original person that was affected chose to redact the name. Maybe I'm not a nice person, and I did not this time. Then they finally added this screenshot. And they added this screenshot where Danielle posted, "It had also come to my attention that this person is now posting in multiple Facebook groups telling everybody I insulted her dead relative. If you watch the video, you'll know all I said was, quote, using your grandfather's death as an excuse to hurt people is never okay, end quote. I never insulted anyone, and if you watch the video, you know this. I also will agree. I again will state I am biased. I am friends with Danielle. But in my personal opinion, I do not think stating using your grandfather's death as an excuse to be an asshole is a bully. That is a true statement. But we have some commenters. And again, so commenter writes, wow, this is absolutely disgusting behavior. I have never even heard of this person, but I will most definitely stay away. Their behaviors and actions resemble how teenagers stir up drama. People like this need to grow up, reflect on their actions, and take ownership of what they've done. I am so sorry this happened to you. Stay strong. Losing somebody important in your life is always difficult, and it's deplorable that somebody would bring your grandfather's passing into their effects to bully you. And then Laura replies, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Liking the comment. The reason why I'm just showing this, okay, I just picked the first one, is because like Laura is accusing Danielle of being a bully for liking comments that defended her. But then you like comments that defended you. So are you a hypocrite? Are you full of shit? Or both? I don't know, right? Like, make it make sense. Because again, if you're gonna go out here and sing from the rooftops that you are speaking the truth, then your words and your actions should line up, right? I'm just saying, make it make sense. If it is a true statement in your eyes that liking comments of somebody siding with you is being a bully, then you have gone out and been a bully too, because you are not liking comments that are siding with you and as a result against Danielle. You can't have both. It's black or white. It is either a yes or no question. But Laura responds, agreed. But ignoring harassment also isn't a good take. She's been blocked for 3 years and is making mass hating videos, and the comment section is riddled with the original bullies, which I asked support for. So it's a time and place situation. Again, I would also argue this is like slanderous, right? Because if you're making a statement of she is making mass videos, you're implying there's a lot. There was one. Danielle only made one video. She posted onto other platforms, that's true, but she made one physical video. The content of the video never differed. But yeah, again, kind of another proof that there could be potential arguments for slander and libel. Here we have another commenter writing, I am so sorry for what Danielle has done to you. Bullying is not okay no matter what you're going through. That doesn't mean she has to take it on others. I'm unsubscribing to her and everybody I know that's subscribed to her. And then Laura's like, thank you for the support. I really appreciate it. Danielle's videos on every social media, LOL. So, you know, again, I would argue that if you're doing this, there could be arguments of libel, slander, etc. I digress because Danielle's statement is true. Laura put this as an aha, writing, you know, this post, that the comment that Danielle left under her own video, where she writes that this person, Laura, has been making multiple posts about her. So it's true. In multiple Sims groups. Sims 4 community help group, copy and pasted with all the photos. Oh, there's 10 photos in this one. This is Laura's post in the Sims 4 community help group with 695 members posting about Danielle. There's 10 photos. Remember I mentioned, I was like, the YouTube doesn't have 10. This one has 10. Why is there 10? I was looking. Okay, we saw this one. Laura has now posted hate comments about Danielle. Again, the like, whatever, right? Why are you posting hate comments Danielle has received about her weight? I don't even want to read this out loud because it's disgusting. It's somebody comparing her to a character from Star Wars, is a bigger character, and then telling her to eat vegetables. Another hate comment of somebody calling Danielle fat. Another hate comment about Danielle's dealing, I guess. Same comment about her being fat. And another post doxing her. Exactly why are you posting comments, hate comments that she has received from other people, comments that she has publicly talked about hurting her? Why are you posting this? And why is this relevant to the conversation? It literally is not a part of the conversation. You brought up her weight for a specific reason and you did it to hurt her. This makes you a bully. And I do not know how more clearly I need to spell it out because even a 4-year-old can understand this. This is mean and hurtful behavior. This is bullying. You are doing it and bringing it up with the sole purpose of hurting her. And again, Danielle is the kindest fucking person that I know. Way kinder than I am. Danielle never mentioned Laura's name. I am truly sorry whatever people did to you, whatever they did to hurt you so badly. You are this vicious, mean, and horrible on the internet. Because here is again the post, another post about Danielle in a different sim group. Do you see this? Cyberbully in the community. It is the same post in a Sims for Melanin. So a different Sims group. You do realize that we are now treading onto slander and libel. By the way, I'm not redacting Laura's name, not because I'm trying to do this maliciously, but because like Laura actively posts on Facebook using the Laura baby account and her Facebook page. Like she actively reposts the posts from each other's pages, if that makes sense. Like she very publicly links her full name to her Laura account. So that's what I don't feel like I need to like censor her full name because she actively reposts it herself. But yeah, it gets crazier, by the way, because what is this exactly? The Sims community anti-bullying with a giant picture of Danielle's face as the header, with Laura as the admin. A safe place to share content and share any unpleasant encounters in the community to receive support. We don't tolerate bullying and we want to bring your amazing work to light. February 2nd, 2024. Name recently changed from the Sims Community for All. It was still Laura's Facebook page to bully people on. Yeah, you know, you would think for this level of like posting slandering that like Danielle killed her dog or something, right? Like, I don't know, that Danielle took her cat and then cooked it. No. This is all because, let me remind you, this is all because of 2 points. 2 points. Point number 1, Laura wanted Danielle to block somebody that Laura stated bullied her. Danielle said, hey, don't drag me into drama, please. Point number 2, Laura said, I am so sorry, I was mean. I am not a nasty person. It's because my grandpa died. And Danielle, in her video, not to Laura's face, but in her video where she was saying her side, Danielle stated, it is not okay to scapegoat a family member's death for your poor actions. These are the only 2 points, in my opinion, that have happened. And then all of this happens. So I ask you guys this. Laura has stated that this is her truth and her side of the truth. We have now read her truth. We have now looked at it. I have shared my 2 cents. I would love to hear your 2 cents. Again, let us not be bullies, right? Bullying means actively going to cause harm towards other people. Sending hate comments under Laura's post is doing the same thing, or Danielle's post for that matter. That is bullying. Once again, let us go and revisit the definition of bullying, right? From Oxford Languages, the definition of bully or bullying is to seek to harm, intimidate, or coerce. Another definition by Wikipedia is the use of force, coercion, hurtful teasing, comments, or threats in order to abuse, aggressively dominate, or intimidate one or more others. The behavior is often repeated and habitual. So, I'm just curious, guys. At the end of the day, who do you think is the bully? Be respectful. Let's be respectful. But I'm just curious if you think that Danielle is a bully, has unfairly bullied a smaller creator, in this case, Laura, for their father's passing, for them being a smaller creator, for their creator size, for calling them out? Or is Laura the bully for asking Danielle, somebody she doesn't know, to block somebody, doxing Danielle's name, for making callouts about Danielle's weight, for making posts about Danielle being a bully and toxic for 2 years straight, for apologizing and then continuing the behavior, and making multiple Facebook groups about this? Like, I'm just curious because in my personal opinion, there is absolutely no fucking world where I exist on where Danielle is the bully in this scenario. That's just my opinion. I'm allowed to have my opinions. I'm allowed to think what I want to think. And this is what I think. And we have now seen both sides of the story, right? We have seen Laura's side and we have now seen Danielle's side. And in life, like I always say, there are 2 sides and there's the truth. So we as viewers consuming the story are now able to consume and come up with our own truth and our own interpretation of what happens. Okay, wait, guys, there's a little bit more. There's a little bit more. Because there's one other point that like Laura keeps harping about, so I'm just going to talk about it, right? This is another point that I wanted to talk about because this is something that Laura keeps bringing up, so it's very messy. So Laura states, more of her lies exposed, claiming she never sold builds other than for 5 minutes and refunded the person. Lies. You want receipts? I'll give you receipts. This is Danielle's coffee page where Danielle is offering builds for pay. And it reads, Danielle builds, build commissions are open. So excited to build things for y'all. Link in my bio. Why is this important? This is important because Laura got into a bunch of controversy for builds. This controversy was not with Danielle, but with another creator, where that other creators basically accuse Laura of being a scammer. Basically because Laura offers commissions for Sims builds. Laura has been doing this for a very long time. She states that she makes a fair amount of money off of her Sim builds. And then there was controversy over that. People were calling her out, stating that, hey, charging people $50 to build a custom house is insane, especially if they weren't upfront about it. People's beef with Laura isn't necessarily even because she was charging for builds, but because they felt like she was not being forthcoming with charging for builds. As in, like, people felt like Laura would advertise builds and then charge for it in DMs, but make it seem like it wasn't paid for. Look, I do play The Sims. I am not in the build community. I just play my little people. Look, I don't pay for builds. I do my own builds, okay? So I'm not familiar with this. But according to people that I've talked to and people in the comments, the general consensus seems to be that it's not common to pay for builds in Sims. It's just against etiquette, and it seems to also be illegal with EA. It seems to be against EA's terms and conditions. This is drama that Laura got into. At this point, it had never involved Danielle. Now, another thing that I want to bring up is Laura has this post that she posted onto her page, a conversation between her and Help EA, where she asks Help EA if it's legal to charge for builds, and Help EA allegedly said it's okay. I think this might have been photoshopped. Because Help EA says, yes, you will do receive the money in game if you will work in making house for peoples, and they will pay you for you time and your hard work to make them. It's a in-game process, space period. It is possible in virtual games, period. So Laura basically used this as an aha ticket, being like, hey, what I'm doing is not illegal. It's okay. Danielle crossed this out. Danielle redacted the name. So Danielle redacted Laura's name out of this. That is why it's censored. Laura posted it with her name in it. I personally suspect this screenshot is Photoshop because this seems very unlike how EA Help would type. The grammar is wrong. The wording, language sounds awkward. You know, sometimes like EA, other company supports will hire people overseas to communicate. Most of the time, the people they hire are also fluent in English, regardless of where they are based. The wording just sounds very awkward for what they're saying. That is my little tinfoil hat suspicion. I could be right. I could be wrong, right? Who knows? That is just my personal suspicion. Regardless, Laura used this screenshot as an aha card, being like, what I'm doing is not illegal. I'm still going to charge for builds. And from my understanding, she still charges to this day. And this was a controversy that she got completely embroiled in. Laura posting this, Danielle offering builds, I guess is her aha, being like, hey, Danielle did it too, so it's not bad, you know? Like, I'm going to drag her down with me. A couple of things that I want to break this down. Danielle stated that she offered builds. She did. She admitted to it. She had offered builds. She built for one person. Then she realized, because she didn't know it was not allowed at the time when she offered it. Then she realized, wait, this is against EA's rules. According to Danielle, she refunded that one person she built for, and she took down the post and she took down her build commissions. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. That is just what Danielle has said. Laura states that Danielle lied, I guess, about refunding the person, and this is her proof. Which to me, this doesn't prove what you're thinking. This proves Danielle sold builds, yes, which we knew, which she stated, she's admitted to it. This doesn't prove that she did not refund the person. This also does not prove that she took on more than one commission. You know what I mean? Like, too much information is missing from this screenshot to prove what Laura thinks it's proving. And then a commenter writes, doesn't this violate EA terms of service? I mean, The Sims is not her property to sell. And Laura replies, you can charge for your own time, but that's besides the point. She claims she never did this, but you know, receipts and all. I'm just confused personally. There's again contradictory points that are being offered, right? From my knowledge, maybe I'm wrong, right? But from my knowledge, Danielle has admitted that she has sold builds. She said she did it, and she said she did it once. This is proof she did it, which is what she said. No? Is this like your aha proof that like it's not allowed to sell builds? Because again, Laura keeps touting this screenshot as her proof that it is legal for her to sell builds. So for some more explanation, because I did not understand this at the time, the reason why it's a very big gray area is there's like one side of the Sims community that's like, oh, it's totally legal to charge money for builds because you spent your time building the building or whatever. The other side of the coin, people are stating it's not allowed to sell builds even though it took your time because the assets don't belong to you, because you are essentially selling EA property, right? You build a house or whatever, you put furniture in it, but all that furniture is EA property. All the house that you built is EA property. That is not your property to sell. So even though you did spend your time on it, it's not legal because you don't own it. We could argue custom content might be different if you 3D modeled like a chair for somebody, you know, you made it, your property. That is like the sides of the coin. Most people err on it is not allowed to sell builds. Even if you spent your time making it, because you don't have the rights for it, you can't sell it. That seems to be the general consensus. Esme, correction, mods and custom content can't be perma paywalled after 6 weeks, but Simmers can make money out of their creations. Okay, resident Sims creator here. Okay, so you can't permanently paywall it after 6 weeks, but you are allowed to make money. So, okay, that makes more sense because I have used custom content websites. They will release custom content and they'll call it VIP content. Then after X amount of time, it becomes free. Anyways, I just wanted to address this because this is a point that Laura brought up as part of her truth. To me, I feel like this is kind of a non-issue because it's again not part of the problem. To me, you start sounding more and more crazy if you start dragging in more and more irrelevant things to the point you're trying to argue. What makes a good debate and what makes a good debater is somebody who can argue on the grounds and the points they are given with different angles as to why this is okay or why this is not okay. Your argument will start to have a lot less ground to stand on if you start dragging in irrelevant things into the conversation as like an underhanded way to kind of get a one-up in the fight. That is my personal opinion. I don't know how you guys argue. I don't know how you guys debate. Look, I have been competitively trained for speech, not debate, speech. So what do I know, right? 7 years. 7 years of doing it. Your argument is not very much of an argument if you start shit slinging other stuff into the conversation. This is like the same thing if you see politicians and when politicians argue, right? Where like sometimes politicians will start slinging very irrelevant points into the fight to try to get a one up. It makes them look very immature. It makes them look like they don't know what they're talking about because it is not relevant to what we're talking about. That is literally like manipulator strats. If they can't gaslight you, they will try to confuse you. People just want to be right. I feel like it's like a human thing, but people cannot accept being wrong. Like sometimes you're just wrong and it's fine. We all make mistakes, still means you're wrong.